Hello, welcome to the Center for Parenting Education and the third and last part of our webcast called Coping with Sibling Rivalry, in which we will talk about many practical ways to manage fighting between your children. If you listened to the first two podcasts of this series, you've learned about some of the background issues that affect sibling rivalry and how parents may respond to it, and you understand some factors that cause sibling rivalry. But in the heat of the moment, you can still be at a loss as to what you can do to handle a situation. One of the questions that parents have about managing sibling rivalry is, when should I intervene, and when is it better to let the kids work out the disagreements themselves? The following information can give you some guidelines about when and how to intervene. We call it the continuum of fighting. With this chart in mind, you can think about what children need from their parents when they engage in fighting with their siblings, and that can help you decide when or how to intervene.
The first is when there's a green light. This is the normal bickering, minor name calling, and the parent's role is to just stay out of it. Next is the yellow light. With this, it's borderline. The volume's going up. You might hear some nasty name calling, mild physical contact, and perhaps threats of danger. Our role there is to acknowledge their anger and reflect each child's viewpoint. Next is the orange light. This is where we see potential danger. It's more serious. We might be questioning whether it's play or real fighting, and our job there is to step in and find out if it is play or real, to firmly stop the interchange if we feel like it's going into the danger zone, to review the rules, and to help with the conflict resolution. And finally, there's the red light. This is where it's a dangerous situation. Physical or emotional harm is about to or has occurred. Our job is to step in and firmly stop the children, separate them. If a child's hurt, attend to that child first. Review the rules and impose consequences.
These levels of fighting can help parents realize what children may need at each of the levels. So they may need attention and respect. They may need outside help to stop the fighting. They may need protection from getting hurt. They may need time to work it out themselves. They may need guidance to process the conflicts and learn how to engage in problem exploration and conflict resolution. And they may need ways to prevent conflicts next time. They also may need ways to make amends, to empathize. They may need to find ways to forgive and reconnect with the other sibling. Thinking about what your children may need can guide you in how to handle the fighting and when and how to intervene. As we go through the next sections of this article, which will address a variety of ways to manage sibling rivalry, you can think about a particular situation in which your children are fighting and one that you're struggling with now or that has come up recently, and which, if any, of the options you may try. One of the most basic ways to handle sibling rivalry is to establish family rules in your home. Having rules in place is a way to communicate your family values and forces you to think in advance about what behavior is important to you and what you want to enforce. Rules are an effective preventative strategy. In terms of sibling rivalry, rules can set a tone and communicate your expectations about how you want your children to relate to one another. You can refer back to the family rule when children fight or do not treat each other with respect. You can even include your children in a discussion about what rules should exist in your family about how people should treat each other. Here are a few rules that are useful to have in place.
You can have rules regarding handling conflicts and anger. For example, no hitting. Use words to say what you're upset about. You can also have rules around family values and morals. We treat each other with respect. Or, if someone is hurt or property is damaged, the person who caused the hurt or damage must make amends. We can also have rules around personal possessions and boundaries, such as we don't take someone else's things without asking first. And also, we can have a no tattling rule, which is no tattling to get someone in trouble, just telling to get someone out of trouble. So, for example, if there was a no playing ball in the house rule and your child's bouncing the ball and the sibling comes and says, "Johnny's bouncing the ball," that's tattling to get him in trouble. But if he just bounced the ball and he broke something that's fragile and now is trying to clean up the glass and he could be getting hurt, then that's telling to get him out of trouble.
Another invaluable tool that you can teach your children is the skill of conflict resolution. In time, they'll be able to resolve their conflicts with their siblings and others on their own. It involves each child expressing their point of view and listening to the other child's point of view, generating a number of possible solutions that work for each child, choosing one solution and trying it. This is a very helpful skill for your children to have as they navigate relationships with peers, and one that is useful throughout life. It makes them feel competent and capable as they see that they can come up with solutions to problems without fighting. For more information about the skill of problem exploration, you can see our on-demand article on this topic that's also posted on our website. Besides using rules and the problem exploration process, here are some other specific approaches that you may find helpful. The following are taken from Barbara Colaroso's book, Kids Are Worth It. The first is to use cool-off times to calm down first, then address the situation. The second is what she calls a notepad, pencil, and one story. The children have to work together to come up with one story about what happened that they can both live with. This process helps them to see the other person's perspective. Next is the sit and permission to get up. You can both get up as soon as you give permission to the other one to get up. Remember that apology is not the key here, and we don't suggest that parents demand that their children apologize. We simply want them to cooperate. Both children have power over one another, and so they become interdependent. It helps children to calm down, and then they can work on the problem. Lastly, Barbara Colaroso talks about you hit, you sit. Children need to learn that hitting is not an appropriate way to handle conflict, ever. You can tell younger children you can calm down in your room, in the rocker, or on my lap. For older children, you can offer a choice between sitting or walking. Basically, you want to communicate to your children that they need to calm down before they can address the situation and come back and deal with it. You can sit until you're calm enough to go back and handle the situation. More specific sibling rivalry techniques include
a toy for children if they're fighting over it, separating children. Nothing makes them want to be together more than telling them that they have to be in separate rooms. Enforce logical consequences. So, for example, if they're fighting over TV, which TV show to watch or a game, then we'll decide or we'll turn it off completely. We can also help children deal with their feelings and with the feelings of their siblings and learn to understand each other better. And we can also use timeouts, not as in a sense to punish, but as was mentioned above, as a way for them to calm down, regroup, and then re-enter the situation.
Okay, we're going to give you now a way to encourage healthy sibling relationships to minimize rivalry. And this list is more general and encourages a parental attitude that will minimize rivalry. But just remember, some conflicts will inevitably exist as long as you have more than one child at home. So expect many episodes of sibling rivalry. It's normal and even healthy. Treat children as individuals. Don't compare them either favorably or unfavorably. And make each child feel special. Don't show favoritism.
As much as possible, stay calm and objective. Stay out of arguments that are only harmless bickering. Remember our traffic light. Make need rather than fairness the basis for decisions. Fair does not mean equal. It means giving each person what they need. Also, come up with a basic list of rules that fit your family values. For example, no hitting, no foul language. Do not referee a fight if you don't know what happened. Focus instead on the misdeed itself. Invoke the already established family rule that prohibits the act and disapprove of it. If the situation keeps repeating itself, there may be underlying issues such as jealousy that needs to be addressed, or sometimes it may be a child who's the quote-unquote victim that needs to learn to be assertive. And remember, you don't have to worry about who started it. You did, by having more than one child.
Encourage communication and understanding of feelings among your children. Help them to develop a sense of empathy and a respect for how their siblings feel. Be aware of developmental stages. Young children have a hard time sharing. They need to possess things before they can share. So don't force young siblings to share or to be friends. Give older children privileges as well as responsibilities. So, for example, if you're asking your older child to clean his or her room, then allow them to stay up an extra half hour later. Help children learn to ignore provocative behavior of younger siblings, and it could be vice versa. Sometimes it's the older sibling that's the provoker.
Okay. Next, make tattling, as we mentioned, unrewarding. Check children's health. Illness often can cause irritability. And also, consider outside help, such as family therapy, if things seem to be out of hand.
Now we would like to share with you some helpful messages that you can send to your children about sibling rivalry, either directly or indirectly, through your behavior and by how you relate to your children and other people, or by the general atmosphere you create in your home. First, remember, you don't have to like your brothers and sisters all the time.
Message: I hope that you and your brother or sister will one day be good friends.
Another message you can send is, you can ask for help to resolve differences when you need it. You can have my attention without having to act up or act out.
It's okay to be angry, but not to hurt anyone when you're angry. Physical or verbal aggression is to not be permitted, ever, period.
Our family is a safe place for children and adults to live and grow up in. If you can pass these messages on to your children, you'll go a long way towards mitigating some of the rivalry and jealousy that exists in your home. Thank you for joining us. For more information about ways to understand and manage your children's relationship and fighting, you can listen to parts 1 and 2 of our Sibling Rivalry podcasts.